6:30.
Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 20. The public will not be allowed to physically access this school committee meeting. This meeting will be conducted remotely via Zoom technology. For instructions to follow this meeting live, see the notice in the meeting posted on whittiertech.org. Let's do attendance first. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Wood, Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. LaBella, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Irving,
Here.
Dr. Testaverde,
Here.
Mr. O'Connor,
Here.
Mr. James,
Here.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Here.
Mr. Lesage.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
of
the
the United States of America,
And to
And to the republic,
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comment. Comments can be emailed in advance of the 6:30 p.m. start time to lran@whittier.tech.ma.us. All comments will be recorded to the record and all attempts will be made to mention them live during the meeting. Any emails received during the meeting before the public comment period ends will also be attempted to be mentioned. Additionally, public comment can be made via Zoom teleconferences as instructed on the notice of the meeting. Is there any public comment? None being heard, let's move forward with approval of minutes of the budget workshop of March 10th. The motion.
Move to accept.
second,
Okay, questions, comments? We have to vote. Roll call. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
yes,
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay. The motion,
Move to approve the March 10th minutes. Second.
questions, comments? Roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
yes,
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
To accept.
Move to accept. Second.
second,
Roll call vote. Are there any questions or comments on that? Okay. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
yes,
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
and Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Old business, the school
Right.
committee. Oh,
Right, you gotta do the executive session minutes.
oh, I do?
Yep.
Okay. How'd I miss that?
Not on there. Move to accept the executive. Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
yes,
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay. Back to old business, the self-evaluation for the school committee. We've got, I believe, 9 now, Lisa, back.
Did we get another one today? I didn't see any yet. I haven't looked.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's either 8 or 9. That's all we've got. So
Yeah.
we're gonna put this off until May meeting, and at that time, we'll review what we have. Hopefully, we'll get some more responses. Reports and communications. I don't see Alyssa.
Yeah, she has a volleyball game, I believe. I could see the buses out here.
Oh, okay. Superintendent's report.
Thank you,
Lynch.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Tonight before you, I have some personnel action for your information. I have 2 electrical instructors, 2 group bus drivers, cafeteria cook, a medical assisting instructor, IDA, special education program improvement, curriculum design team facilitator, ELL instructor to provide SEL or ESL training and attendance makeup monitors, as well as fall coaching, fall 2 coaches for the 2021 school year. We had the public hearing on the 2022 budget this evening, and the budget books will be distributed to cities and towns as soon as possible. We are preparing all grade 10 and 11 students for the ELA and math MCAS test that is scheduled May 11th, 12th, 18th, and 19th. Grade 9 students are preparing for the biology MCAS scheduled exam for June 8th and 9th. On Friday, June 12th, I attended the North Shore Superintendent's Roundtable remote meeting with local legislators discussing school finance and COVID financial concerns. On Wednesday, March 17th, I attended the Merrimack Valley Chamber Board of Directors virtual meeting. On Tuesday, March 23rd, I had a call with Jeff Riley, DESE's commissioner. This is our quarterly meeting. A draft of new admissions regulations is being brought forward to DESE's April meeting. On Thursday, March 25th, Dr. Justin Bartholomew, Superintendent Pentucket, came to Whittier. We were able to help Pentucket Regional with allowing them to borrow some old tables and chairs that they plan on using at their high school. On Monday, March 29th, I attended a remote West Newbury Finance Committee along with Kara Cosmas. We updated them on our school budget and where we are in the MSBA process. On Wednesday, March 31st, I attended a remote MAVA officers meeting with Elizabeth Bennett. DESE is planning to have schools submit admissions and waitlist data biannually. We were able to review the data tool and make some possible suggestions. On Monday, April 5th, I attended the remote MSBA meeting along with Kara Cosmas and Bev DeSalvo. We have received confirmation from MSBA that we will be moved forward to the feasibility stage at their June MSBA meeting.
Wow.
So that's great.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but I think it will, preparing Whittier for the next generation is really important. On Friday, April 9th, I attended the MSBA remote meeting. We again refined what we were looking for as far as enrollment, and we have landed on a school the size for 1,400 students. So right now we have about 1,250, so 150 more students attending our school.
Wow.
On Tuesday, April 13th, I attended the remote Merrimack Valley Superintendents Association. At that meeting, we continue to discuss MCAS concerns for this school year. The principal and the senior class officers are developing a plan to have 2 proms with a maximum capacity of 150 students a night. And this will meet all CDC guidelines at both of those meets. It's been a bit of a struggle because we have been trying to figure out how to do it safely. And I think we have finally figured out a way to do that, and in promising the kids to have a really nice event, because this senior class certainly deserves to have a nice event. So I think Mr. Leganis and senior class officers, senior class advisor, sorry, are planning to put something out Friday to let them know kind of what we'll be looking at. And our graduation plans are coming along. As with everything else this year, we'll be prepared to pivot based on the guidance and trajectory of the virus in our community. And it's a good thing the principal is a former hockey player, because I guess there's lots of pivoting in hockey. And we've been doing a lot here at the school. And right now, I would like to share a video with you regarding our safety concern. So, Mr. Williams, turning it to you. I hope he's listening. Yep.
Yep.
As we prepare to return to All In at Whittier Tech, we wanted to remind everyone of the procedures we've been following and refining since September. In our classrooms, we maintain strict spacing with high-capacity air filtration systems in each room. We've utilized outside-facing classrooms to provide fresh air wherever possible. In addition to a universal face mask policy, we've utilized barrier systems between teacher and student to further enhance our safety protocols. To serve lunch safely, we've taken a number of steps to provide a safe but social atmosphere for our students. We've assigned zones for every class to aid in contact tracing efforts if needed. We've provided for a minimum of 6 feet between students to eat while unmasked, following CDC guidelines. We've also utilized alternative spaces for students to eat to allow for safe spacing, like our gymnasium, and as the weather gets warmer, we hope to add outside options as well. In our shop areas, which tend to be larger spaces, we've also deployed various barrier systems between student workspaces when we could not space them out in other ways. Of course, where possible, we've used existing equipment and fixtures to provide for optimal spacing by rethinking how we sit and work. In the end, our goal is to provide a safe working environment for everyone as we go all in on the learning process here at Whittier Tech.
So thank you, Kevin. We're all in as of April 26th.
All in.
That's a great video. Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Are parents seeing that video? Is that,
Well, we wanted you to be the first,
oh, okay. And then it's going on the website?
and then it's going to go on our website, and we're going to reach out to our remote students. We're really encouraging our remote-only students to try to come back into the building. So we're hoping that once they see the video and see some of the procedures we have in place, that we can get more of our students back in the building. We have about 100 students right now that are still remote only. And as you know, working at a vocational school, it's really hard to teach those skills without actually being here in the building. So we're going to continue to try to get those kids back into the school.
Is it worth it to have that on the local cable channels?
I'd certainly try. I think it's a great video, and we're definitely going to use it as much as possible so that people can see what we're trying to do here in the building. Again, this is not something that is done alone. As you can see, the school has been completely transformed. And again, I have to give that up to the maintenance staff and Bob Hardy, his crew. Every time I say I have an idea, or Chris says I have an idea, they're at work trying to make it a reality, because we do realize, we are in a pandemic and we are trying to get our kids back at school, and we want to make sure we're able to do that as safely as we possibly can.
Done a good job.
Thank you. I told Kevin he makes me look good, so thank you, Kevin.
More than welcome.
Next is establishment of a scholarship. The family of Herschel Dwayne Glover is donating $1,000 for a Home Depot card to benefit a graduating Whittier senior.
Oh, good.
Move to accept.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, roll call. Mr. Early,
yes,
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Absolutely.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True,
Yes.
Mr. Osage.
Tony?
Tony,
Tony,
okay.
I think he's frozen.
I hope that's what it is.
I-
Might be a cardboard cutout.
Yes.
Um,
I'm not even sure he knows.
Next is Patty Lowell, giving an admissions update. This will be Patty Lowell's last admissions update to the Whittier Tech School Committee. So
Don't have to keep saying that.
I have to keep reminding myself because I don't want it to be a reality. Sorry, Patty.
Me too.
All right. Well, good evening, Chairman Murphy, members of the committee, and Superintendent Lynch. You've received the district's admission update, which includes the comparison of the 2 prior school years. I just want to say, just to give perspective to last year at this time, we had just gone into the full remote, but we had managed to have our full discovery program in the summer, the prior summer, our open house in the fall, and we had done all of our tours with students and completed almost all of the interviews by the time that we had to go remote. So we really had a very normal admission cycle last year. And we were using our new program, GoToCTE, and we had great numbers in our admissions. This year, we weren't able to do any of that. We had no summer programming. We had a virtual open house. We provided videos and virtual tours for students and information. We had to do all of our interviews remotely, and thankfully, the middle schools worked really hard with us to make that happen. We really appreciate all of the school districts working with us to do that. And I'm happy to say we were able to process almost as many applications as we did in the prior year. So we really, the guidance team did an incredible job getting applications through, and we really didn't see much of a dip in applications, even though we weren't able to run our typical program. So
Good news.
I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I just checked, and as of this morning, we accepted about 400 students, and as of tonight, 329 have indicated that they will enroll. So we're right on track with the way we've been.
Any questions?
No.
Patty?
Fabulous.
Awesome. That's good news.
Very.
All right. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
We'll miss your reports.
Yeah.
It'll be new and improved. New shoes
Okay.
coming in.
Big shoes to fill.
New shoes.
New shoes. Okay. All right. Principal's report. Mr. Laganis.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, rest of the school committee members. Again, this year, has looked very different than most. I got to tell you, it's a pleasure to see all the connections among students and staff, conversation in lunch areas, and our building is filling up very nicely with students. Our vocational students have been in for several weeks, and we've been very successful. And also, as we know, with the beautiful video that our superintendent showed us, April 26th, we're pushing all in with the students. But we must remind everybody to continue to be very diligent on the protocols, when necessary. We want to remind everyone also, if you're sick, to please stay home so we can get back to those regular routines that we're all used to. So we're getting there, and we can't wait. It's very exciting. Also, I'd like to make sure that you view our hybrid schedule, which now will be a regular schedule, hopefully come the 26th. But it kind of gives you a weekly schedule of what you're looking at. And also, we also have a WT weekly happenings tab to check that out too on our internet and our website. Important dates, Monday the 26th, all in like we talked about. Patty, I don't know if she alluded to it, but freshman orientation is on May 15th. It's going to be a virtual combination. Kids are coming in with that, as well as awards night. We're going to be working too as well in a sort of a virtual awards night, but also videoing the kids while they're in school. Tuesday, the 25th, Tuesday, May 25th, and Wednesday, May 26th is our senior formal prom. As our superintendent said, more information, the information will be out on Friday. And we can't wait for those beautiful nights too. Hopefully Mother Nature will be ready for us. And we do have rain dates for those nights as well because it's outdoors. Pencil in your calendars, June 3rd is our graduation day, and June 5th will be the rain date. We're in the process of planning graduation, as Maureen said, so stay tuned for those details as well. Our assistant principals and senior advisors are in the process of setting up assemblies with our students, for the senior class, to set expectations as we get closer and closer to graduation and we get into those activities. Spring sports, are up and they're coming here the 26th. With not much transition between our fall two. So far, our fall two season has been very successful. We're finishing that up as well. We must continue to follow those protocols so we can have these beautiful activities for the children. The Booster Club is back. They're making money for our athletes by selling sweatshirts and little pins. And they're coming up with creative ways to make this money. There's no food allowed to be sold. But I just want to thank Mrs. McNulty and Miss Russo for all their efforts so far in collecting money. I believe last week they made over $600 for student athletes, and that's just the first round of getting back after all, the COVID situation. Grab and go meals are still available at the end of the school day for our students, even though we're all in. Also, the virtual clubs are transitioning back to in person. Our after-school buses start up when we get back. Some of the things we're all used to, the Tuesday and Thursday after-school extra help detention buses, so we're excited for that as well. Also, as you know, we've talked about the live stream, the morning announcements. The kids have been asked trivia in the mornings. We go live. And thanks to Patty Lowell and Rich Pacelli, every single morning and running and help me run the live stream. That is going to be ending because we want to get back to kind of some normalcy. And we just want to make sure that once we get back to that, the 26th, that I want to thank Patty Lowell and Rich Pacelli for being there every single morning for the staff and, more importantly, the students. In production and, putting up with my antics at 7 o'clock in the morning. Ms. Lynch, about those antics. So the show was a lot of fun, but I thank everybody. And I think it served its purpose for our students. So thank you, everyone. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the principal? Okay.
Good luck with Nick. Have a great vacation.
Yeah,
Good luck
have a
with
great
Nick.
vacation.
Yeah, you deserve it, all of you.
Business manager, Kara. Could I mute?
Oops, sorry about that. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Madam Superintendent. A few things that I have for you this evening. In your packet, you will see the variance analysis for 9 months from July through March. And I'm going to echo what you've heard the last two people say. This year has been very, very different. So our expenditures and our surpluses are very, very different. And we will be bringing other things to you before the end of the year as we look at the funds that we have available and some of the things that we may want to do for next year or want to do for this year. So we're on very good track. It just looks a little bit differently than it usually does because school is a little bit different this year than it has been in the past. So I have that for you. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay.
Variant- Oh, sorry.
Joanna?
Sorry, it was the variance analysis.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, site improvements, 245,000, is that like basically what we saw in the video?
You approved it. No, you approved a transfer for that when I moved over the third phase of the field of the track because we had.
Oh, it's the track, okay.
Yeah, and we used the rest of it for the MSBA feasibility. So that's why.
Yep.
And that will be balanced out within the next couple of months.
Okay, yep, thanks. I just wanted to figure out what I was looking at. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions on the variance analysis? Okay, you have some bid results in your, well, you have a bid result in your packet. We put out a bid for 2 new school buses and it was awarded to New England Transit Sales Incorporated. They were the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $125,692, and that was for 2 buses with trade-in values, after trade-in values. And as you know, we're on a 5-year program with our buses and our vans, and we replace them every 5 years. So every year we do 2 buses typically and 1 or 2 vans. So does anybody have any questions on that?
Works.
And the last thing in tandem with that is there is a memo in your packet. I've requested you approve an appropriation of $158,892 from the transportation revolving account, and that will be used to purchase those 2 new buses, 1 replacement van that we have already procured from the state bid list, and also to offset any costs associated with special education transportation this year. So I would ask that you approve that appropriation.
Move to approve the budget manager's recommendation.
Second.
Any questions or comments on that? We'll need to do a roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes,
Mr. Lesage. I think we're having technical difficulties with Mr. Lesage. Okay. All right. Is that it, Kara?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Committee chairperson, May annual agenda items. We'll do appointment of school calendar, superintendent evaluation, and we'll be introduced to the new student representative.
Brett, will we get paperwork on the student superintendent's evaluation?
Well, that'll be emailed out
Okay,
through the Google thing. Yeah.
all right.
Any more questions? Subcommittee reports, executive. Is there a need for any meetings coming up? Okay. Instructional personnel, Dr. Testaverde.
We haven't met and I don't think we need one. And I think Maureen and I had talked and we had kind of agreed that we would be looking at something probably in August or early September due to reentry and lots of stuff going on. Maureen, is that about accurate?
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Plan operations, Mr. Tucker's not here, but last month we did get a full view of everything from Bob Hardy. Salary negotiations, Mr. Early.
Yes. We had a meeting last month
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about them later.
yeah. We have minutes to approve. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the files.
Second,
Okay. Roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes,
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage. Okay. Policy, Mr. Irving.
Yes, we did meet this evening. We're reviewing remote procedure participation. We reviewed the Attorney General's notes on opinion on that. And we looked at several school committees across the state that have adopted it. And we're, at this time, the superintendent and Lisa are going to go through and mark up a policy for us for our May meeting. And the subcommittee will need to meet prior to our regular meeting in May. And hopefully, if everything's all right, we're going to have a first reading. So we can send that out to everyone on the committee. We'll have a first reading in May and a second reading and final review on it in June. So basically, we've taken the Attorney General's opinion and other committees who have recommended it and approved it, and we're going to present that to the committee. So we'll need to probably 15 minutes before the meeting, Maureen. So let's say 6:15 for the subcommittee.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Meeting dates. Regular school committee meeting will be May 12th at 6:30. Maureen, do we want to talk about have an in-person meeting now? Whether we want to begin in May or June, or wait till the school year is over and start in July?
That seems appropriate.
Any thoughts?
Committee.
are we able, can we speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I think that we should be setting an example as well. If the kids are coming in and the teachers are all there, then I think we should also be there if people are feeling comfortable. We can social distance and we can be conscious of all the kinds of things. And if we even need to wear a mask, we wear a mask. But if the kids are in school and we're saying it's safe, then I think we need to also set an example that it's safe.
Good point.
Agree.
Joanna?
Mr. Chair, I'd feel comfortable once I get my second vaccination, and 2 weeks out from that, I would feel good, as long as we have, masks and all that, because I think there'll be some people that actually don't know, but there could be people on the committee that might not. I don't know what what their vaccination schedule is, or what their what their personal medical situation is. I've heard that some people have difficulty getting vaccinated because of medical situations. So I just want to be cognizant that although I do feel safe, because I trust that that Bob Hardy and Maureen and everyone are going to do everything. I personally would just feel better to wait until June. That's my preference, but maybe other people could speak to that.
Is there a possibility of a hybrid?
Yeah, good point, Ron.
I think we could do both. Have those who want to come, and those who don't, we deal with having remote with them. Can we possibly do that with technology? Kevin might be able to manage that.
That's an IT question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me research that. Kevin's off. Okay, Kevin, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we've definitely trialed a few things. Let us maybe try and do some things in the space now for real, if that's where you think you're going to be going. Me and Mr. Pacelli can take a look at some of the options and see if we can't come up with something that may work out for everyone.
So Bob, Mr. Hardy and I have looked at is having barriers between everyone. So you would have a plastic barrier in between you and the person you sit next to. And you would be obviously where masks would be required. So I think we could try to set it up as safely as we possibly can to have you return.
I agree with Dr. Testaverde. I think it's time for those that are comfortable to be able to get back. And if not, we could set up remote. That would be fine. Good trial of a system of remote meetings.
Yeah, I also agree. I also agree.
Do we want to base it on whether we know we can do it or not? The hybrid way, Maureen?
For me, I feel like we'll be able to figure it out. I mean, it may not be this YouTube kind of a thing. It may be, but we can try to figure it out.
Well, if people have Zoom at the various locations, and there's a big TV monitor that Rich and Kevin can put up in the middle of the horseshoe there, we should be able to communicate, and that's would be very similar to what we're looking for a policy coming in.
Yeah, we should be able to figure it out.
I also thought if the horseshoe is too close and we can't have enough space, could we make a horseshoe by the tables in the restaurant area and make it so that we have all of the space? It would be a big space, and I know, and I know they're doing lots of furniture moving, but it might be something for consideration as well if our regular meeting area is too confining.
The issue is really the cameras, where the cameras are located. We can really.
If we have the barriers, it should be okay. Maureen, the other thing I would check on is CDC and also the governor's statements about sizes of crowd and spacing and all that stuff. As long as we're within compliance, I would say we can go ahead.
Remember, Mr. Irving, on May 20.
Uh-oh.
We just lost some. We lost Maureen.
We lost Maureen. Hello.
She's running away.
She's going to check on the room. She's taking measurements.
Sad to say we lost something. I guess we lost her.
Right. Pentucket's been doing hybrid meetings since September.
They have.
So maybe, I know Maureen's not here, but maybe they, could figure out how to put cameras like in the room to bring the tables out more.
Have those been working out well, Lisa?
Yes, they have, and there's still live YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Kevin, do we know where Maureen is?
She's coming. I just called her. Right.
I'm a little nervous. She said Mr. Irving something.
We usually are pretty good. This is, I think, the first time we've had a couple of misplaced people during our meetings.
No, usually we do great. But
yeah.
I don't know.
His mannequin fell over.
Did we find Tony yet? Did he come back?
Yeah, I saw him moving.
He was moving. Yeah, it wasn't a cardboard cutout. I saw him moving.
Found an APB for him.
I'm here. There he is.
Hey.
I'm here too, Tony.
I keep losing my internet connection. I don't know what's going on. It says right on the screen, bad internet connection.
Anyway, April 26th, we're all in, right? So we're going to have about 1,300 people in this building. So I'm sure a school committee meeting of 13, 14, 15 people will be perfectly acceptable. But we'll obviously follow all guidelines and make sure that we do it safely for everybody's sake. So.
There's an option there, so I think we should, proceed.
Maureen, can we send out a notice on that there's a couple of people that aren't here this evening.
Yes.
What about public comment? they still gonna be able to come to the meeting if it's a hybrid, if we're there, or how would that work?
Good question.
Pentucket, was having some people, come in via Zoom. And they'd let them in during the public comment section and then, close them out afterwards. And at the last couple of meetings, where they had to, there was a limitation, people weren't going in yet, but it's quite possible they are now.
We'll figure it out.
We hardly have anybody show up anyway, so it might be just one of those meetings where they don't come because they haven't anything to say.
All right.
Or we could leave the public comment with the Zoom.
Right, email.
Yeah.
Just leave
Yeah.
it at that.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin could probably set something up where we have the screen, and if someone wants to make a public comment, they would be able to possibly come in live.
So teachers have been doing hybrid all year. I can do a hybrid meeting, so
Yeah.
leave that to
Okay.
us if you want.
All right. We know you can do it. Moving on. New business. There is no new business posted. We do need to go into executive session. We need a motion to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, support staff association to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, administrators, Director of Technology and Information Systems, Human Resource Director, Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent, Business Manager, and Superintendent, and strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel. 12-month staff as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the committee, and upon completion of executive session, we will return to open session.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, we need a vote to go into executive. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes, and I just want to thank Maureen and Whittier Tech for the donated furniture, for Pentucket School District.
My pleasure.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Tony.
Oh, boy.
Where is it? He froze again.
It's frozen
Okay.
again.
Cutout's back.
All right. We're going into executive now.
All right, if you could just give me a couple of seconds, Brett.
Yeah.
Stay healthy, everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Take care.
Good night, Chris. Have a great vacation.
Healthy.
Okay, we should be good.
Okay. We're back in from executive session, and this will conclude tonight's meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second,
Roll call vote, Mr. Early.
One
Yes.
second. Melissa.
Oh, sorry.
You have to do the votes.
Oh. Okay, we have to do them publicly now.
Yes.
All right.
That's for the superintendent's contract.
Oh,
For everyone's.
Every
Now all of them.
Can we group them?
All right, let's not skip anybody.
Oh. Hmm.
So we'll do a motion.
Support staff first.
The support staff.
So moved.
Second,
comments, questions? Mr. Early,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Need a motion for contract for non-union personnel administrators.
So moved.
Move to accept.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call vote, Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True, Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion for the contract for the Director of Technology and Information Systems.
Move to accept.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
and Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
We need a motion for the contract for Human Resource Director, Administration Assistant to the Superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call vote, Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay. We need a motion for the contract for the business manager.
Move to
Move to
approve.
accept.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Roll call vote, Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
We need a motion for the contract for the superintendent
Move to
director.
accept.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay. Now we need a motion for the contract for non-union personnel, 12-month staff.
Move to accept.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Ms. True,
Yes.
and Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Did I get them all, Lisa?
Controller.
Maintenance, that hazard thing.
Oh. We need a motion for the $5,000 additional pay for the maintenance workers for the COVID
Motion to.
work they did.
Move to accept.
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay. Is that it?
Did we miss the comptroller?
Controller.
They're all 12-month staff.
That
Yeah.
was- Okay, that was. in
12
the
months.
admin thing. Okay, yep, just. You can-
Are we good, Maureen?
you see?
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
A roll call vote. Mr. Early,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Irving,
Aye.
Dr. Testaverde,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. True,
Yes.
Mr. Lesage.
Yes.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good